Welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is Prove Me Wrong, the show where we give our opinions and the others have to prove them wrong. I'm joined by Jay. I'm joined by Stephen Howson with your lovely cup there. Today we're going to be going around giving our opinion and the others have to prove them wrong. Jay, I'm going to start with you. Give us your opinion and let's prove you wrong.
Well, despite what your new, both your Bezzy, Rio Ferdinand might have said about the stadium.
Someone sounds jealous.
Yeah, I am. Well, no, I'm not jealous at all that you both spend time with one of my favourite ever United players quite regularly.
Scholes is there too, don't worry about it.
Shook his hand. How many times you interviewed Fergie? Yeah, I thought so. Anyway.
That has been.
Right, get to your opinion, Jay.
Exactly, yeah, you got a point.
What's he doing in the last decade? Fuck off.
Where is he? He might be coming out of retirement at state wearing. Rio said that he didn't want United to knock down the stadium and rebuild it. A lot of people have been talking about this. There was this rumour, I know you're not buying into it, that we might be getting a new stadium or a revamp or a rebuild or a...
I'm not even sure we're getting a new manager.
Yeah, so whether you believe that or not, I'm all for United getting a new stadium. I am. Now, people go, well, what about the history of Old Trafford? What about the fact that, if you get a new stadium, then you're going to lose all that history, you're going to lose traditions. That's the pitch that the Busby Bay's played on. That's all this other stuff. Your history comes with you if you go to a new stadium. You never lose that. You never lose all those traditions. When Bayern Munich went to the Allianz Arena, did they stop being Bayern Munich? Did they lose all their history? No, they didn't. Neither did Juve when they went from the Stadio Alpi to their new stadium. It comes with you when you're a club of the size and the magnitude of what Manchester United are. And also, actual things like, well, such and such a team played on that pitch. Well, they didn't. It's been relayed thousands of times.
It's like Trigger's shovel or Trigger's broom.
Yeah.
The broom end and the handle's been replaced so many times.
It's been replaced thousands of times. And also, if you wanted to, you could literally rebuild the Munich tunnel in the new stadium. You can rebuild those iconic parts of the stadium that you like. It's not a case of you losing your history. It's a case of you having a stadium that is fit for purpose. And Old Trafford isn't that. And revamping it isn't going to work. It's just not. It's falling apart. It's crumbling. It's tiny. There's no leg space for people that do want to sit down. If you want to stand up, you're limited to how many standing sections you can have or how many standing parts you have because of the structure of the stadium itself, because it was originally built in the 20s or whatever, and it's just been rebuilt and redone and revamped over the years. A brand new stadium is what United need, and it was what will benefit United. And you can have a 90,000 seater stadium or whatever you need to have. You can have a stadium that is the best stadium in the world. You can do that, and it is doable. And I know people go, oh, but how long is that going to take, and what are you going to do in the meantime, and all this other stuff. These are all logistical problems that can be worked out for the greater good, and the greater good would be United having the best stadium in the world and actually trying to live up to that moniker we give ourselves of the biggest club in the world.
Steve, do you want to go first?
I'll tell you where you're wrong, Jay.
Okay. I fully expect this, by the way.
So, yeah, it might be a bit of Trigger's broom with the grass.
Yes.
Because the grass gets cut fairly regularly. I see him do it, right?
Yeah.
However, I did a video with my mate Rio Ferdinand. You might have seen it. I went and stood in the exact same spot that I sat for my debut at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
You can't do that if they knock it down, Jay.
Right.
And even though you're saying, yeah, all that stuff's been redeveloped and this, that, and the other, the pitch is in the exact same place. The players have walked through that tunnel. I know the tunnel is in a slightly different place. But that original tunnel, that's been there. That survived the bombing because they made it out of some just absolutely bonkers concrete. That's still there. The history of the club is there. There's original artefacts and stoneworks that are from the original club. You say Bayern Munich have moved and this, that, and the other. All right, cool. We're not Bayern Munich. They've had things in their history that they've had to change, maybe that they don't want to know about, especially after World War II. You want to look into it. They had a little bit of an association with the what's-it boys, right? We didn't. I'm proud of our heritage. We are our heritage. We are who we are, and that's it. Old Trafford is the home of Manchester United. Not Old Trafford plus 200 metres, right? Not Old Trafford built around a corner. Artifacts and buildings have energy, and artifacts and buildings hold feelings. The fact that that stadium is the stadium with additions that Duncan Edwards ran out on, that Bobby Charlton ran out on, that George Best ran out on, that Cantona rode out on, that all of us went to for the first time at some point in our lives. That means a lot to me. Name me one rebuilt stadium that you've gone, That was mint, that. And had energy. What's your favourite away? Villa Park or you like?
Villa Park was Upton. I didn't mind Upton Park as well, or even Goodison. I know the view of Goodison is terrible, but as an away, I've had some
Okay, so it's Villa Park.
Yeah, Villa Park's a good one.
Is it one of the worst stadiums in the world?
Yeah, it's not. It's
Right, yeah. You're going through what feels like you're on a ship at times, right? It's because there's soul there. It ain't the facilities. It ain't how new your fucking carpet is. It ain't how shiny your sign is. It's because the buildings have got energy. And if you knock that down, that energy's dust now and gone. And the way you keep that energy alive is you keep that building going. Yes, it needs a renovation, 100%. But you know the fact that it is a little bit cramped. If you are over 5'9", you ain't sitting down in there comfortably. If you've got a 46-inch chest, you're gonna have to stand side on sometimes. But do you know what? I fucking love that. Do you want it like Wembley, where you can kick your legs all the way out in front and not touch the seat in front of you?
You can skip. Or
star
jumps.
Do you don't have to move out of the way for people coming through with a pint? No,
I understand that. Excuse me. I'm in a chair. I don't sit down. I'm in a standing bit. Which also isn't very safe as well, because people are flying over, people have had legs broken and all that. But I understand that bit. It's not for me in particular. But if you're sort of tall, or you're taking a family there or whatever, or a lot of kids, it's not great. It's not. It's just cramps in the way it is. It's not. And I don't know if renovating it is going to sort that out.
But isn't part of that what's good about it? It's not meant to be your living room or somewhere where you sat back in.
It's a physical
let's put sofas in.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of having the best stadium in the world.
Yeah.
But don't you think there's a way to make Old Trafford the best stadium in the world? Because it has been a case of, it's not like, look at the Emirates now. There's not really anything they can do to upgrade or build on that. Old Trafford has been a constant, almost sort of Lego structure over the last 100 years of adding this, adding another tier here, adding the quadrants there.
That's what makes it so good. What makes it perfect.
And like little things like, all right, you say it's not the tunnel that United went out, but the tunnels are still there. You can move a lot to a new stadium. You can physically have part of the new stadium with parts of the old stadium in it and have a brand new stadium and still have parts of the old stadium in it.
You've not answered me. Naming one new stadium that you've gone in and felt a soul there, though.
I mean, it's difficult because when you go to aways, like I've been to Main Road.
No further questions, Your Honour.
I've been to Main Road and the Etihad. Is the Etihad a better stadium than Main Road? Yeah, it is. Was there a soul in either of them? No, because it's City Stadium. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and there's also that problem of like, I know these were repurposed stadiums, but you look at West Ham at the London Stadium, the amount of problems they've had there, the amount of fans that
I understand that.
The same with the Etihad.
I'm not dismissing Irish. I love the history and it's a big part of what we are. But I think, when there was an issue with the atmosphere at Old Trafford, we did something about it. And I think you can do that when you get into a new stadium. You can still have a soul and you can have more fans there.
In your new Stretford End, kind of?
Yeah, you can have more fans there as well.
The Stretford End.
You can have...
It's K-Stand, it's United Road, Jay.
Yeah, you can have all that.
It's where your dad and your granddad and all of those.
There is a little
Remember
bit
the Dockers, Jay? What about the Dockers?
Do you think Steve's nice and sentimental about it?
Yeah, and it's like, I'll be honest with you.
Did you think I was going to be an other way?
No, I knew you wouldn't. It's great.
I know this is why it was a good topic. I don't even know where the first place I stood when I first went to my game at Old Trafford. I remember going, obviously, but I don't remember where it was. I remember when I tell you what, the place where, it was when we won the treble. That's when I started going. Where I used to stand for most of my games when I was a kid, isn't there anymore. I used to stand in the scoreboard paddock, and you can't stand there anymore. It's changed.
Yeah,
so it's already changed.
I had a seat in there.
Do you know what I mean?
But
so
you know what? It might
we've
have
already
changed,
changed United and Old Trafford
because the fucking views are there, and it's the same
like,
pitch, Jay, and it's the same sky, Jay, and it's the same
still
coordinates.
I just feel like we'd all be in a new stadium, we still have our history, we still have our heritage, you still have literally some of the parts of the stadium that matter to you, and you'd have a much better, bigger stadium. And you know what? We need to start thinking about these things and reaching out to some of these younger fans as well, because a lot of these younger fans that we've always taken for granted, they're not just going to keep coming to United. And I think we need to bump up our stadium. And I don't know the intricacies of what you can do at Old Trafford, but I know it's limited.
When did you first go to United?
My first game was 1985.
Right. I remember in 1990. Do you remember the little plastic pint glasses that they used to have? You used to have a really fucking shit United logo printed on it. We used to run around collecting them, like almost about 6 or something, right? And fucking thousands of them in my house. The concourse of the Stretford End was like a gulag, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
And it was lit. It was concrete and mould, and it was lit by. Have you seen them toilets in Trainspotting, the first one? Looked like that, right? Didn't stop me fucking coming back. Didn't stop you coming back.
No.
Didn't stop thousands of us coming back.
You're talking about coming back. I'm talking about like attracting fans,
fuck
getting them
'em.
to come through the door in the first place, because it's not as easy as it used to be, especially when like we were winning things
What,
and
do you want to
challenging.
attract soft knobheads, or do you
I
want
want
to
to attract
fucking
youngsters and go,
geezers?
like, you're like they do down the road. They're winning lots of things and going to young fans. Yeah, I can come here for nothing. Taking tickets to schools. We're not doing anything like that.
A stadium that's so big we can't sell it out? Is that what you? Is that what
But
you're
for
trying
certain
to say?
games, I don't mind if we're giving young fans tickets for free. I wouldn't mind that at all.
No.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, but you're talking about pandering to people.
It's not pandering. It's
Yeah, it is.
attracting young fans. I don't think we can just take for granted like we used to that we'll always be able to just fill that 76,000
Yeah, because we
stadium
were
or whatever.
fucking belting in the 80s.
Do you know what I mean?
Jay.
Well, we're still winning trophies. We still have likes of Brian Robson and Paul McGrath and Norman Whiteside playing
You know
for
what?
us.
Can I just put the biggest
finally.
flaw in your
on,
fucking
then.
nonsense?
Go on.
Jay, they won't buy us a midfielder.
Yeah.
They're not buying us a fucking
I
stadium.
agree with this.
Yeah,
I
where's
agree.
this billion quid coming from?
I agree with that. But
You ain't getting a stadium for less
that's
than a
where
billion,
you
by the
go
way.
to Microsoft.
Yeah.
And you go,
Right.
let's have a new
So now it's going to
stadium.
be the Microsoft Stadium.
but
Jay,
all-
Can we get
I'm
all the-
going to delete your number from my fucking phone.
Hey,
You're going
all-
to knock Old Trafford down and rebuild the Microsoft Arena and fill it with fucking Johnny-come-lately kids who only want to be there because we've given them a fucking iPad.
What, are you saying that you don't
You're
want to be
everything that... No wonder people
Tesla
hate
Centre.
fan cams.
All right, we don't have it the Microsoft.
Tesla
you know,
Centre.
we have Tesla or Apple. There
Yeah.
you go. Well, listen, you can build a new stadium. You can get the money for it. It's doable. It is.
Tottenham did it,
If
Arsenal
Tottenham
did it.
did it and Arsenal did it, United can do it.
And both of them suffered financially and struggled on the pitch in result of having those
Really?
things.
That's true.
And we're all...
Spurs
all
went
right.
from winning nothing to winning nothing. Arsenal went from barely winning anything to barely winning anything.
All right, so what the fuck do you think's going to happen with us? Put $1 billion on the fucking stadium and then $1 billion on the pitch? Give you a shake, Jay.
Right, we could go about this all day. You decide at home whether Jay has proved you wrong, that we should get rid of Old Trafford, basically. Let's move on then.
Just fucking bomb it. Get Rosla's granddad back in, shall we? Fucking Christ.
I'll go next. And this, my opinion, is that not getting rid of Old Trafford, we need to just get rid of VAR. Like, none of this, oh, it's all right, it's the way it's implemented, or it's okay for this thing, it's okay for that thing. It ruins football. It stops you enjoying goals. It makes you double guess everything. The amount of times I've stood up or, what is it, not is it? Oh, no, and yeah, it is, celebrating 3 minutes later. It's shit. It just makes football worse. And we're not reducing mistakes. We're not making any less problems. There's still things where you go, check VAR, oh, we just don't agree with the ref despite them seeing it twice. Nothing's improved, and watching football is a worse experience. To help us with this, Adam McCall has been chatting about this, talking about his thoughts on VAR. Let's have a look what he's got to say.
Right, I've got a minute to talk about one subject, and my subject this week is why referees are the problem and not VAR. Now, I'm not going to lie, at the start, I never wanted VAR. I wanted football to be same at every single level. But I'm sick and tired of seeing the same people that cried for VAR to be introduced now moaning that VAR is the problem, when it's clear it's the referees that are looking at the screen, making these decisions, making poor decisions in real time, making poor decisions after multiple replays. How can you blame the technology when it's the guys that are clearly using it? Because we're all sat at home. We can see them making a mistake. So why can't they? Don't blame the tech, blame the refs that made us need the tech. They're the problem.
So he's more of the, as long as it's implemented properly, it's not the technology's fault, it's the ref's fault. If you want to see the rest of that, head over to Bet Victor. The link's in the description to watch the full Last Fan Standing. I'm going further than that. Fuck this, it's on the refs. The refs are always going to be there. If they're the ones making the mistakes, get rid of it. Get rid of the system that makes football worse.
Don't get rid of it, Joe.
Yeah, but why not?
Right.
Do you think they can
Do
honestly
you know
defend
what?
that it helps? Do you think they honestly think it made football better?
I'll be honest with you. There's a little part of me that agrees with you. Like with VAR, it's flawed and there's been so many faults with it and the implementation of it. But certainly with it offside, I haven't got an issue with it. I haven't. Because if we had VAR, right, in 2004, we'd have another Champions League now. We would.
Talk about 2010, Jay.
Yeah, exactly. 2010, we'd have another Premier League.
Well, Darren Fletcher would have been playing
Right,
in the final.
so tell you what, here's how history goes. 2004, Paul scores when he scores that goal against Porto, where there's two men playing him on side.
Yeah.
Chelsea are points for them.
We win that game. Mourinho doesn't win the Champions League. Chelsea don't appoint him.
No.
So he doesn't
David
become a
Moyes
thing.
wins a treble for us in 2015.
How?
Yeah.
Because that's how it works.
Because you just say what you want.
Prove me wrong,
Jay,
Joe.
All
Because
you're
that's-
doing, you are cherry
that's
picking
it.
all of the times VAR would have helped us.
All right,
and
but,
not remembering
but
the times
they're
it would have
obvious
hurt
ones,
us.
aren't there? And you can look at it and go, With the offside, you can go, right, okay, that's a line. And I know it might take too long and you argue with it on where's the line and all that, but it's pretty fair. It is a line. And you go, okay, that's onside,
But it's
that's
from
offside.
someone's bicep.
That's offside. And that's where you can look at it and go, okay.
Right.
But when it's sort of decisions and it's gone, is that a clear and obvious one? Yes, it isn't. Yes, it is, sorry, that isn't one. Then there is a bit of a flaw there. But I don't think just getting rid of VAR completely is the answer. For me, I would be quicker with it. I think when you saw it in the Euros, it was implemented fast and it was good. And I think no one moaned about VAR after that tournament. And I think for offsides where you can go, okay, yeah, that's offside, that isn't fair enough. I think it works.
But the other thing to remember is, in a Euros tournament, you are watching your team play 6 or 7 games. And in a 6 or 7 game span, you might not have a horrendous error. But over 2, 3, 4 years, like we've seen it now, what has it been, 4 years? That we've seen it now in the Premier League, there has been tons of errors and things where you just go, oh, I just can't celebrate that then. Do you think that VAR has made watching football more enjoyable or more fair? Do you think it's done either of those things?
I don't know if it's
Different argument.
But why is it?
Because you're asking these questions like it's going to matter. They're not going to get rid of it.
But I think they should. Do you think they should keep it? Do you like it?
They're not getting rid of it.
If it was up to you, would you get rid of it? If you had the choice.
It ain't up to me, Jay.
Right, I know that.
It's not
That's
up to
why
you
I
about Old
premised the
Trafford
question
either.
with.
You're not
if
the one
it
with
was
the
up to you,
bulldozer and the
if it was
fucking
up to you,
swing
The last time
ball.
I checked, this was called Prove Me Wrong. It was
Right.
wrong because they're not getting rid of it.
What do you think my point is? That they will get rid of VAR?
No, you want them to, but they're not
Right.
gonna.
So I'm not wrong then, am I? That I want them to get rid of VAR?
Are they going to get rid of it?
I don't know. Who knows? This every year this talks about how to change it, how to make it better. This rule needs implemented, that rule needs implemented.
What have they ever brought in and repealed?
I don't know.
No further questions.
Well,
Jay.
yeah, all right. Then,
golden
all right, then.
goals,
Yeah,
silver
golden goals,
goals.
silver goals. The what was the rule on offsides where there has to be clear space between the defender and the thingy? Handball rule changes all the time. Loads of things do.
That's not something that's been repealed, though. No, certainly not on the magnitude of let's go and look at a fucking tally at the side of the pitch. It's nowhere near the same. It's an interpretation of the rules has changed. Silver and golden goals or something.
All right, let's reword the question then. Do you think VAR's made football better?
That was my question. And he said,
you think it
your
has?
whole point is about whether or not it should stay, and they're not going to get rid of it. So shut up, Jack.
All right, is it improved
Stop
your?
bumping your fucking gums.
Is it improved your experience
Yeah,
of
I
football?
love just delaying scoring goals and just waiting to,
Right, okay,
to
there's
cheer
your answer.
5 minutes
Yeah,
later because I got bad knees and that.
yeah.
I just for
Let me
me,
get to my feet in good
I
time.
wouldn't be against getting rid of it for fouls and for things because I don't think it's working at all. And keeping it for offsides, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that.
Right, go on then, Steve. What's yours?
We had to sign Ronaldo.
Well, that's controversial. We have to sign the greatest player of all time.
I mean,
Hey, how's the most controversial person I've ever met come up with probably the most
Because
uncontroversial
loads of people
opinion?
are saying, no, it was a fucking mistake and this, that, and the other. Apart from the fact that there was a chance he was going to go to Manchester City, and honestly, we couldn't have allowed that. The power shift in Manchester is so complete then. It's like when you unite the rings on Captain Planet, some mad shit happens. It would have been that, right? You couldn't have allowed that to happen.
Thanos getting the last Infinity Stone in there.
I'm not seeing it, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's just say yeah, right? So you are to allow that to happen because the ribbon would have been ridiculous. I'd have still been in hiding today, right? I think if that was the case. He's the greatest of all time. You can't allow him to go and choose to go and play for the rich Wigan Athletic over Manchester United. He's also our leading goal scorer. If you remove Cristiano Ronaldo, Cavani hasn't been available for more than 20 minutes or something this year. Marcus has been shite. Tony Marshall has been non-existent. Who was going to play? Without Cristiano, if you rewound time and said, okay, let's not sign him,
But
who plays?
well, we don't know what the rest of the squad would have been like if he wasn't there. We can't just assume everything's the same, but now he's gone. Rashford's still been shit. Martial's still not played. Cavani's been injured the same way.
Well,
It wouldn't have been the same.
Okay, but you can't change those things.
No, but you can't necessarily assert that
Is there
it
not
would
an
all be
element?
the same.
Though? I agree. I understand what you mean about it. If we gone to City, it would have been horrible. But is there not an element of like that's just like we're just being small time about it?
Yeah.
It's like it stops him going to City, and that's all that matters.
No, I don't think. But I don't think that's the reason. But it's a factor. You can't deny that it's a factor.
Yeah, I understand.
He'd also
that.
scored 36 in 44 or something last season. This isn't someone that was as obviously finished as maybe a little bit of hindsight suggests that he isn't capable of playing twice a week.
But then let's allow hindsight into the argument, because we're here in March. This isn't an August debate. If it was August, we'd all be sat going brilliant. But isn't it not the sort of decision a fan would make, or someone with too many emotions about Manchester United would make? We want him, so you can't have him. No plan, no structure, no here's how we're going to be as Man United. We always talk about what is the vision of Manchester United. Just another example of we don't really have one. When it seemed as though there was a bit more of that. You know, generally speaking, we looked like there was some structure to the transfers. Then you just go 500 grand a week on him because we don't want them to have him.
Again, you're overemphasising the Manchester City link. It was a factor, it wasn't the reason.
Right.
And the main reason for it is he's our leading scorer. And yeah, he's been off the boil to a large degree. But so has the entire team. Marcus has shit the bed. Bruno has shit the bed. Maguire has shit the bed. Shaw shit the bed. All of the players that propped up our second place finish last season have shit the bed. I think it's extremely reductionist analysis to be able to just point at one of the most successful players of all time and say, yeah, everyone's shit now because he's dead good.
I'm not saying everyone's shit because he's come in. I'm just saying.
No, people are.
Yeah, people are saying that. But the point I would make is it not an obvious backward step in terms of strategy? Yes, all of these things are true about him. He's such a legend at United, Ballon d'Or, Champions Leagues, etc. Stop him going to City. I get it. But that's not.
In
He's
August
a 36-year-old.
In August last year, was Cavani a successful signing or an unsuccessful signing?
Successful signing.
After his first season, was Zlatan a successful signing or an unsuccessful signing?
I think he remains a successful signing.
So another player in that mould, probably a one.
But we already had one. That was the thing. We already had one.
We did, but there was a chance he was going to go.
Do you think there's an element of Ronnie has upset everything though? Because it's just like the implosion at United is just unreal. And yeah, okay, when he came in, it's not like everything was rosy, but you know, we did beat Leeds 5-1 on the other day. It wasn't like
no one's ever done that, Jay.
It was a disaster though, was it? Do you know what I mean? Like, and he's come in and
what's the impact that we actually know he's had?
We've had a lot of falling out,
Yeah,
and also
go on, sorry.
The sort of thing is that at the end of the season, United are not going to have a trophy, and we're not going to have Champions League football. If we hadn't signed Ronaldo, would everything be different?
And obviously, you can say what is the impact we know he's had, but you're smart enough and you like to think enough to imagine a world where he didn't come. It's not just here it is and this is the only information we know
what the impact he had on the players around him. They all stopped having desserts and shit. Like this is the tangible impact.
Desserts.
But this is the tangible impact we know he had on the squad, which you've got to assume is a net positive. People have started to take the game more professionally, which arguably wasn't happening at Manchester United. And if he's upset some players, well, I'm sorry, our squad's full of little bitches. Yeah, they probably needed upsetting and some home truths.
And net positive to what end though? Because we're about to have probably our worst finish in 4 years.
To a certain degree, and I'll be honest with you, I'm probably the most petty person ever. And if it stops and got to say, I would have signed him. I don't care. Yeah. If he'd never kicked a ball for us, just don't let him go to them lot. But there is for me, I do have this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that we had to do something in the Champions League to justify this. That was what I was thinking last week. I was thinking for Ronnie to be justified, the signing to like, yeah, it's a success, it's worked. We had to have done something in the Champions League. We've done nothing really, have we? Like, and it feels like it's been a bit of a failure.
Yeah, we scraped through a shit.
I understand. Like he's our top scorer, and not got like I said earlier, not got to say.
People are painting this as Ronaldo, but you name me one other player that's had a good season.
I suppose the question to that is, has he hurt any of them? Has him taking penalties off Bruno? Has him sort of becoming the main man affected anyone? Has him sort of trying to alter our style play where it's all about him? And some moves, and listen, I love Ronnie and all that, but some moves do break down when you get to him. There has been a bit of that going on. And I think, there was that 1 goal in 8 Premier League games against Dross as well when we had the 8-game run of playing pretty poor teams where he wasn't firing on all cylinders at all.
But how many chances were we creating?
Well,
we weren't creating.
But again,
chances.
look at the season as a whole. Last season, we finished second. We got to Europa League final. A lot of our players had improved, markedly under Solskjaer. We saw big names that came in and did better than they had done before. Now we end this season. The manager's been sacked. No one's had a good season. We're in absolute no man's land when it comes to who's managing next year. You can't. I'm not blaming that on Ronaldo at all, but we've gone backwards this season. Yeah. So it's hard to be like any single thing was a success, or it's almost like all the decisions we made
it was success.
May not have been.
It had to happen.
But did it? I don't know.
I'm
not.
Without him,
difficult.
I actually think we'd be in a worse position without him.
Do you?
Because
Okay.
I love Ronnie, and
Same.
it's only like last week he scored a hat trick against Spurs. We're all waxing lyrical about him, so it's difficult to sit here and go it should have happened. And there is that argument of would we be worse without him because he is our top scorer. But I just feel
Just
like
a case of with hindsight, no one had any idea what was going to happen with Mason. No one had any idea that Cavani was going to go AWOL. No one had any idea that Marcus was going to shit the bed this year.
No.
No one had any idea that Tony Marshall was going to play 2 games. Like all of these factors have resulted in, and this has all happened with him here. Without him here, there's literally you're seeing if Scott McTominay can play up front again.
I don't know. I mean, that is like you saying if he's not coming, does
It is the truth. We wouldn't have signed anyone else. They found money because he was Ronaldo.
Yeah, I
agree
do.
with that.
I do agree with that. I just wonder. I don't know. Do we see a better performance
also-
from anyone? Does anyone step up?
Like one of the things with Pogba that's been a conversation the whole time he's been at United.
Oh, like
is-
he did in the Manchester derby.
I mean,
Anyway,
again though, to what end?
yeah. But all right, we played Liverpool with Ronnie in the team. I'm not blaming him, but that's probably the worst performance I've ever seen by a United
Yeah.
team. So like, I don't.
defensively.
all right, give you that. But I just feel like, for me, whilst I kind of agree with you that we still should have signed him, I don't think it's been a success.
Yeah.
I don't think it has, if that makes sense. I just think.
My point was it had to be out.
I just think it's just been, for me, when I looked at it, I thought the only way I'll think that this was a good signing this time round is if we do something in the Champions League. And I don't think we're going to get top 4. We've gone out of the Champions League against an okay Atletico team.
Yeah.
It's just not good
And the
enough.
other thing to remember is, I know again, like I said, the Mason situation would have fixed some of this and couldn't have been foreseen.
Yeah.
But we have now got 2 strikers, and the average age is 37 or 36, whatever it is. Like, we need more strikers now. This was, maybe Rashford could have played more. Maybe Martial could. I don't know. I'm not saying, Martial and Rashford both hit 20 plus goals in the last couple of seasons. We aren't going to get that now, and we need a new striker. And we've had this conversation all season about, was it right, was it not right? He's not the same player he was. We've had to defend him and talk about him all year. And part of that is just draining. And I wonder if the squad ever thinks, it's just fucking Ronaldo's team now. This used to be our team.
Yeah.
Now it's his.
And also,
can't
we've
even have
got,
Apple Crumble
we've got
anymore.
another year of this.
Yeah.
If he decides to stay and he doesn't want to leave,
I don't think he's going to stay.
if he, we're at his beck and call, because if he says, I am going to stay, I've got another year on my contract on 400k a week, whatever it is, I'm not going anywhere, then we're going to be paying a 37-38-year-old next season.
Yeah, and he'll still be our top scorer next season.
That may be true, and that
Well,
may
that
be
might be
down
a-
to the
that might
fact
be a
that we're
problem.
even worse.
Yeah, if he is, that's a problem.
He's our top scorer with 5 goals by the end of the season.
Viva Ronaldo.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking Reds.
It's a fair point. Though. I mean,
Viva
it's
Ronaldo, I agree with that.
Certainly worth a debate.
Yeah, right. That's going to be all from us. If you haven't already, check out our merch section, paddockmerch.com. Loads of discount for members, loads of good stuff on there, and loads of new stuff coming very soon as well. Also, for all the members, there is the members chat where you can go in there, chat with each other. We get in there 24/7 members chat. Check that out. Thank you, Steve, for coming on. Thank you, Jay, as well. Thank you for your opinions. Let us know your thoughts on all of our opinions in the comments below, and also hit up Bet Victor to see that full video with Adam McCullough. Link is in the description. Thank you very much for joining us. If you aren't subscribed, hit that button, and we'll see you in a bit.